Hello everybody, I'm here to read chapter 3 to you. It's a very short chapter, this one, so I'm going to read it through, and I'm also going to provide some of the sayings and more unusual words in the description of the video. So if you need some help understanding, have a look there. And obviously remember, you can always Google any of these phrases, and because this is a set text for GCSE, you'll find that lots and lots and lots of people have already provided help on this. So do make sure you use your search function just to help you understand things. Chapter 3, Dr. Jekyll was quite at ease. A fortnight later, by excellent good fortune, the doctor gave one of his pleasant dinners to some 5 or 6 old cronies, all intelligent, reputable men, and all judges of good wine. And Mr. Utterson so contrived that he remained behind after the others had departed. This was no new arrangement, but a thing that had befallen many scores of times. Where Utterson was liked, he was liked well. Hosts loved to detain the dry lawyer when the light-hearted and loose-tongued had already their foot on the threshold. They liked to sit a while in his unobtrusive company, practising for solitude, sobering their minds in the man's rich silence, after the expense and strain of gaiety. To this rule Dr. Jekyll was no exception, and as he now sat on the opposite side of the fire, a large, well-made, smooth-faced man of 50, with something of a stylish cast perhaps, but every mark of capacity and kindness, you could see by his looks that he cherished for Mr. Utterson a sincere and warm affection. So in this opening paragraph, you can see we get given some more information about Utterson and more information on Dr. Jekyll. Utterson is described, along with the other people who are invited, as intelligent and reputable, and he is also made sure that he says he contrived to remain behind. In other words, he made sure that he could linger on when everyone else had left in order that he could talk to Dr. Jekyll alone. Now, because this happened a lot, it didn't seem unusual to Dr. Jekyll. This was no new arrangement. And it seems that Utterson, where he is liked well. So he's the sort of person that if you like him a lot. And the hosts enjoy keeping him around. Maybe he poses a sort of contrast to the more light-hearted and loose-tongued people that have been in attendance. And he has this sort of more dry and sober attitude, and therefore kind of enjoy sitting with him and sort of almost like calming down after all the party. And it sounds like they'll enjoy sitting in his unobtrusive company, sobering their minds in the man's rich silence. So it's this idea that he is kind of a reassuring and calming influence. Now, in terms of Dr. Jekyll, we get some information about him. He's large, well-made, in other words, kind of well-to-do and has done well for himself. Smooth-faced, so it implies that he's had no hardship in life. Man of 50, so we get his age. And he's stylish, so he's, wears fashionable, stylish clothes and seems to be very kind and affectionate and sincere with his feelings for Mr. Utterson. "I have been wanting to speak to you, Jekyll," began the latter. "You know that will of yours." A close observer might have gathered that the topic was distasteful, but the doctor carried it off gaily. "My poor Utterson," said he, "you are an unfortunate in such a client. I never saw a man so distressed as you were by my will, unless it were that Hyde-bound pedant Lanyon, at what he called my scientific heresies. Oh, I know he's a good fellow, you needn't frown, an excellent fellow, and I always mean to see more of him. But a hide-bound pedant for all that, an ignorant, blatant pedant. I was never more disappointed in any man than Lanyon." So pausing here again, you can see now we have Jekyll's reaction to Lanyon, the doctor, who has told Utterson that he's not seen Jekyll for some 10 years because he doesn't agree with Jekyll's scientific and what he calls him here heresies. Now, a heresy is when you do something that is against God and against religion. So it sounds like here that Jekyll has been dabbling in some sort of science which seems to go against the natural order of things, and we will come to learn more about that. And here also we understand that although he says to him that he's a good fellow, an excellent fellow, and that he wants to see more of him, he then goes on to call him a hide-bound pedant. So hide-bound means kind of inflexible, and pedant is somebody who's a real stickler for all the details and getting everything right. So here it's almost like he's accusing him of being this inflexible stickler, and therefore that's why he's sort of frustrated with him. And after saying that he wishes he'd see more of him, he then goes on to say, I was never more disappointed in any man than Lanyon. So we have this real contradiction. And what's interesting here is this phrase hide-bound obviously includes the word hide. So perhaps the name Hyde is on Jekyll's mind and seems to sort of come out here. You know I never approved of it, pursued Utterson, ruthlessly disregarding the fresh topic. My will? Yes, certainly I know that, said the doctor, a trifle sharply. You have told me so. Well, I will tell you so again, continued the lawyer. I have been learning something of young Hyde. The large handsome face of Dr. Jekyll grew pale to the very lips, and there came a blackness about his eyes. I do not care to hear more, said he. This is a matter I thought we had agreed to drop. What I heard was abominable, said Utterson. I can make no change. If you do not understand my position, returned the doctor, with a certain incoherency of manner. I am painfully situated, Utterson. My position is very strange, a very strange one. It is one of those affairs that cannot be mended by talking. Jekyll, said Utterson, you know me. I am a man to be trusted. Make a clean breast of this, in confidence, and I make no doubt I can get you out of it. My good Utterson, said the doctor, this is very good of you. This is downright good of you, and I cannot find words to thank you in. I believe you fully. I would trust you before any man alive, I before myself, if I could make the choice. But indeed, it isn't what you fancy. It is not as bad as that, and just put your good heart at rest. I will tell you one thing. The moment I choose, I can be rid of Mr. Hyde. I give you my hand upon that, and I thank you again and again. And I will just add one little word, Utterson, that I'm sure you'll take in good part. This is a private matter, and I beg of you to let it sleep. Utterson reflected a little, looking into the fire. I have no doubt you're perfectly right, he said at last, getting to his feet. Well, but since we have touched upon this business, and for the last time, I hope, continued the doctor, there is one point I should like you to understand. I have really a very great interest in poor Hyde. I know you have seen him, he has told me so, and I fear he was rude. But I do sincerely take a very great interest in that young man, and if I am taken away, Utterson, I wish you to promise me that you will bear with him and get his rights for him. I think you would if you knew all, and it would be a weight off my mind if you would promise. I can't pretend that I shall ever like him, said the lawyer. I don't ask that, pleaded Jekyll, laying his hand upon the other's arm. I only ask for justice. I only ask you to help him for my sake, when I am no longer here. Utterson heaved an irrepressible sigh. Well, said he, I promise. So there we have it. That's the end of chapter 3. As I said, it's a very short one. And we have here this really interesting discussion between Jekyll and Utterson, with Jekyll very passionately asking Utterson to promise that he will abide by the conditions of the will. But the really interesting phrase here is where he says, when I am no longer here. And it seems very odd that not only has he provided for his disappearance, that he is talking as though he almost knows it's going to happen. And it gives us the sense, as the reader, that something is in store for Jekyll, and we don't know what it is.